Fate. Clovis wept for a time as Roran assured him that Einar and the rest were all very much dead. But Clovis did not weep out of joy. Instead, he was enraged that he was not the one who had killed Einar, the devil. To him at least. He wished with all of his might, which at the time was admittedly very little, that he would have been the one, but he was not, and he was free. Lucas would be his first priority. He told Roran as much, and Roran assured him that Lucas would be among he and his party, who would soon arrive on the trail. Clovis demanded too that the rest of the slaves should accompany them. Roran assured Clovis that this would be done, but now they were leaving to return to Clovis' father. Roran told him that many things had changed in Hilda. Like what? Clovis asked as he rode in what would otherwise be an awkward and embarrassing position on the back of Roran's horse. Roran riding if it had not been for his aching muscle and bone and prior year of enslavement. He did not care if anyone thought him queer at that moment, for in that moment he was not trying to impress. They were waiting for the party of men who had slaughtered Einar and the rest, as well as the band of slaves, which Roran had told Clovis had been ordered to be taken to his father and then set free. Clovis' father was a good man, and he had never been particularly fond of the slave trade. Clovis wondered what he thought of it now. He grinned at the thought of what his father had done. What a clever and strong man, Clovis thought. Thank God for him. Your father is no longer the ruler of these lands, for one, Roran said, a sense of unease in his breath. He has been usurped. Usurped? Clovis almost demanded urgently. By whom? Who do I have to kill? Roran smiled, and Clovis could tell that Roran liked him, but they both knew full well that it would be weeks before Clovis would be able to kill anyone except a small child, maybe, though of course he would never do that. He was too weak now, and even their talking was almost too much of him. Much of his strength had been of pure necessity, but now that it was not needed, it was quickly waning. How did you find me? Clovis asked tiredly. We found you in the other land, by the Western Sea. The Western Sea was the small channel that ran along the western side of the kingdoms of the motherland, as all of the motherland did call it. That narrows it down, Clovis jabbed. Hardly, said Roran. It was difficult to locate you, but once we did some reconnaissance, after learning that this man of yours, Einar. Devil, Clovis retorted. Whatever you call him, said Roran. Once we discovered that he was in debt to a warlord, no less, we sought to make an exchange for you. Yes, the warlord Kristoff, Clovis nodded. Of the other land, I heard them talking not a week ago. Now I'm here. Now you're here, Roran turned and smiled. That was the last thing that Clovis remembered before waking up next to a woman who was gently dabbing something wet and cool against his head. Clovis took a moment to regain consciousness. Who are you? He asked the woman, staring at her beauty. She had dark hair, nearly black, but not quite so, with eyes the color of the brightest of seas or skies. She appeared to be tall, though shorter than Clovis, and her skin was as pale as a full moon. Her lips pink and large, her eyes a similar idealistic size. She leaned down to Clovis and whispered to him, "Rest." Clovis fell back asleep. When he awoke again, his father was there to greet him. Clovis' father, the Duke Wesmaester, Henry Wesmaester. For in the motherland, when one was old enough, the age of 12, one chose one's own last name or kept the name of his or her father to honor them. Was a staunch old man, loyal to a tooth to his King Alexander Hilda, son of Lucius Hilda, and even more loyal to his son. He sat tiredly, almost as if defeated, his full white head of hair a shining patch of snow atop an otherwise barren mountain. Clovis wondered how much different each of them looked to one another, for when Clovis had left his father's hair had been a dark brown, unlike Clovis' own, which was a light blonde color, and he wondered how much they had each aged since Clovis' enslavement and his father's exile. Father, Clovis said, squinting to see him clearer. It's really you. Duke Wesmaester smiled, an old man's smile. Yes, Clovis, it is. We found you, by God. We did it. You did, Clovis nodded, smiling back, but Clovis did not thank God as his father had. Why would he? Clovis' father took no note of that, however, and got up to wrap his arms around his son and hug him. He began to cry. Clovis just smiled. When Duke Wesmaester was finished, he told Clovis of his sorrows and pains, though Clovis spared him his own. There were urgent matters to attend to. There were men who needed killed, except that the men who needed to die were royal men, or so his father explained. The king has exiled me, he said to start the conversation. Why? Clovis asked, surprised. Why would he do that to you, to us? There was anger in his voice, despite his weakened state. I refused him an order, Duke Wesmaester further explained. Did he deserve that? Clovis said, still finding something to smile about. His father smiled back. Yes, he did, but I still refused him, and this, his father gestured around him. This is the consequence. Clovis looked around at the wooden walls and floor of the bedroom he occupied and the fine chair his father sat in. It's not a bad place, Clovis smiled. I am no longer Duke, Wesmaester lamented. But you will be again, said Clovis. I will see to it, father. Duke Wesmaester smiled. Thank you, my son, but you must regain your strength before anything is done. Clovis nodded reluctantly in agreement, noticing his gaunt and skinny body. What was the order? Clovis asked curiously, wanting to divert the attention being given to his appearance. The king requested that I send my men to his aid in a battle against some men. Duke Wesmaester shrugged. Because I did not, they nearly lost the battle. But they did not, Clovis stated. They did not, his father nodded. Fortunately, else it might have been my head instead of exile. I would still be in chains, said Clovis. Why didn't you send your men? His father had a tear in his eye. They were looking for you, my son. That brought a tear to Clovis' eye as well, but he did not cry. Thank you, he mustered. You'll be Duke again, father. They spoke for a few moments about trivial matters and a little of Clovis' sister, Lila. Duke Wesmaester assured Clovis that his sister was safe and secure with her husband, a still honorary member of the king's council. His name was Regent Yeoman, and Lila had taken his name so that her name matched his own, and was Lila Yeoman. But that was of no import to Clovis. He simply needed to know that she was safe, and once he was assured of this, he spoke no more of her. It was not that he particularly disliked his sister, but she was a woman, and more importantly, they had nothing in common. He had always seen her as somewhat of a pest, but he had always loved her, though he never admired her. She was older. As Clovis' father stood to leave the room and to leave Clovis to rest, Clovis remembered something. Father, he said. Yes, my son. The old man turned to face him again. That woman. Who was she? What woman? Asked the Duke. Clovis, realizing that he had not properly described the woman, went into more detail of her appearance, though he excluded that she was particularly beautiful to him. I see, said the Duke, and then pondered as old men do when they have trouble remembering something. But this old man never came to an answer. I'm not sure. She must have been one of the servant girls. Can you ask around? Asked Clovis, now showing his intrigue in the woman. I'd like to know. I see, his father said humbly. I will ask around, for you, my son. With that, the old man, the Duke, Clovis' father, left the room, leaving Clovis to his thoughts, and they were bloody thoughts. Some of were Einar, but realizing his death, his thoughts moved to other matters, and he pressed forward. Although he knew that his father would not approve of it, Clovis knew that there were only two ways to appeal the decision of a king. He could either beg or he could kill. Clovis would choose to kill, of course. That was his way. And so once he regained his strength, he would move on from his poor bed and into the life of a vengeful warrior, and now an assassin. That was his fate.